Greetings, virtual wanderers, Aeons here. Have you ever been itching to play games with social mechanics, but then you realize that games that have them are goddamn farming games? Well, let's talk about it, because I feel like there's just not enough games that have social mechanics out there. And at GameTyr, you know we're all about social mechanics. So here we are. If you're not quite sure what classifies as social mechanics, they're features in games that let you build a relationship with the NPCs by having actual interactions with them, not just choosing dialogues over and over again, like, flirting, insulting them, or maybe even the more quirky stuff. It's a feature that gets overlooked on most open world games, which is a shame because it actually helps with the game's immersion. So why is it not widely adopted in the genre? And why is it hoarded by farming games out of all games? I mean, aren't you tired of getting the same stuff over and over again? Because I definitely am. And I think it's about time we get social mechanics on our favorite action, RPG, or any other games for that matter. So let's get into it. Let's start by talking about the elephant in the room. What games do you actually think of when I say games with social mechanics? That's right. If it's not The Sims, it's probably farming games. I mean, the countless farming games are out there to prove it. Games like Stardew Valley, My Time at Portia, Animal Crossing, etc. are all farming games. And I know most of you probably know or have played them. And you probably also know that many of them have relationship bars that you can manage either by talking to NPCs or gifting them items. Some of the games might even have more features than others, like Stardew Valley, where you can go to the theater together or doing the delivery quests for the many NPCs in the game. You also get plus points on your relationship bar by constantly doing activities with the NPCs you like. Even in the OG of all farming games, I'll do a routine dipping egg into the spa to get the spa boiled egg, and gift it to Potpourri. And you might think, why Potpourri? Well... Anyway, just like any real-life relationship, it needs to be managed. That's actually the challenge of in-game social mechanics. If you don't know what to gift them, you can actually end up lowering their relationship bar. And if you're too busy tending to your crops in Stardew Valley, it'll also drop the bar. Don't worry though, we've all been there. Many of these games have complex relationship systems. And My Time at Portia steps it up a notch by having a skill tree that gives you certain social perks, like boosting the relationship points you get from doing stuff like sparring or chatting. In Portia, having a high relationship status with NPCs actually gives you bonus perks. Say you become good buddies with Polly, the next time you decide to buy something, he'll give you an extra discount. So the social mechanics here actually tie into the core gameplay. Even a game like Animal Crossing has social mechanics as one of its many features. You meet with the villagers of the island and build a relationship with them simply by talking to them or maybe catching some fleas off of them. If you manage to get a really high relationship bar with them, they'll randomly gift you something to help you decorate and build your island, or maybe even farm their photos as your special prized possession. Now to top it all off, the endgame of social mechanics is... Yep, you guessed it, marriage. After all, the relationship needs to head somewhere, right? And just like any real marriage, you can have kids as well. But what else can you get from marrying NPCs in these games? Well, it varies. In Stardew Valley, your spouse can help with chores around the farm. In Harvest Moon, they offer a home-like atmosphere. How about Animal Crossing? Well, sadly, you can't marry any of the villagers, but we all know deep down some of you like the idea. To give you an idea of just how many farming games with social mechanics are out there, we haven't even scratched the surface with the games we've mentioned before. There are still a ton of other ones out there, like Rune Factory, Coral Island, Dinkum, and a heck of a ton more. Now that we've talked about a few farming games, you can actually see that most of them have similar social mechanics in them, which are usually chatting and gifting NPCs. But why is it that these features mostly exist in farming games in the first place? Well, the short answer is, it's because it simply complements the game's nature, which is its slow pace around its farming mechanics. Farming takes a big chunk of the game's activities. You build up your farm wealth by building your way up the crop ladder. But I'd say that there's still a lot of downtime when you're not planting, watering, and waiting for your hard-earned crops to grow and make you a fortune. You usually don't have much to do while that happens. And crops take a while to grow, so farming games have to have another feature to fill in that gap. And while there are other activities like fishing or mining for extra loot, their social mechanics are usually what adds that extra chunk of playtime. After all, it just fits in nicely with the gameplay. You live a slow life in the countryside, while building a community in your village by being nice, or even flirting up one of your neighbors. Essentially, farming games are what people fantasize about when thinking about the good old farm life. It just so happens that everything works hand in hand as well. To get on your neighbor's good side, you gotta bake them a pumpkin pie. And to get that pumpkin pie, you gotta grow your pumpkin seeds to harvest some pumpkins. See the correlation here? It just integrates naturally into the gameplay loop, and that is why farming games seem to have a tight hold of social mechanics. So we can all agree that farming games have actually built a perfect system for social mechanics. But why are they the only ones hoarding them? Especially when they add a good chunk of playtime. We've actually talked about why not a lot of games have social mechanics before in one of our previous videos. So if you wanna know the details, go ahead and check that out. But a little bit of TLDR is that most game studios just can't be bothered dealing with the extra complexities social mechanics brings to their games. If you enjoyed the video so far, make sure to like the video, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss videos like this in the future. It really is a shame to think about, because we could get so much more from open world games if game studios were willing to invest just a little bit more time and effort in social mechanics. Okay, maybe not just a little, but at the very least, it'll be worth it if done properly. Because we need social mechanics to be adopted into more open worlds. And we've seen that it's possible even with a complex game like Fable, which was a legendary fantasy action RPG game that is still unique in the genre even until now because of how they blended the genre with proper social mechanics. This game is living proof that social mechanics can still work outside of the farming game landscape. Imagine if an action game had social mechanics in it. It won't be easy to match the fast-paced environment with the aspects of social mechanics, but if there's an open-world game where players have the chance to slow down between missions full of bashing enemies, and then get them motivated to interact with NPCs by rewarding them with exclusive items, extra content, or next-level relationships like marriage, it'll bring a whole new space of gameplay into these games. Say you were playing Yakuza. I mean, the gameplay actually already has a relationship bar, but it doesn't mean squat when the only way to level it up is through a goddamn fixed dialogue. Now, if only the game had multiple types of interactions you can choose from. Maybe, just maybe, we get to hug the hostess as many times as we want.
ひょっとして真島さん、自分のことを王子様だと思ってるんですか?
And then comes the case where it's the other way around. I'm talking about the legendary game Bully, which hasn't seen the light of day since the PS2 era. Now the game actually has multiple ways to interact with NPCs. You can go up to an NPC and greet, insult, threat, apologize, beg, flirt, and practically do anything with them. But the minute you walk away, they won't remember a single thing because it doesn't have individual relationship bars. You can be an absolute menace and pull an NPC's pants down, but the moment you go back to your dorm to sleep, you won't see the same NPC that you were quote-unquote playing with. And sure, you can kiss or date NPCs as well, but what's the point when it's all scripted?
Do you think anyone saw?
Damn, I'm good!
I mean, they did well with making the small town feel big, credit to them there, but adding that extra social mechanics will help them upgrade that town into an actual living town, with NPCs that evolve with how you interact with them. Now, here's some food for thought though. We could also make it the other way around, like giving a game like The Sims a bit of action, with an actual objective to follow. The Sims, for the most part, is a perfect example of a game with social mechanics. It lets you wreak havoc with its endless amount of social interactions to choose from, all affecting the relationship bar with the NPCs you interact with. But what if they made that an open world with a story to progress and some big drama to solve? Won't that be a big sight to see? Now I'm just spitballing here, but I want to know what you guys think of this. Do you think a game like that can work out? And does it make you want to play a game like that? Let us know in the comments below. Either way, open world games with social mechanics aren't rare because they're impossible to implement successfully. They're just hoarded by the games that make you live your life out farming and romancing that hot country girl in your local village. These infamous farming games with social mechanics overshadow the existing few open worlds that have those same mechanics. But even with those overwhelming numbers of farming games, they weren't the ones that invented social mechanics. They just managed to build the perfect gameplay loop to house them. So with all that said, for the love of God, AAA, AA, or even indie studios, it really doesn't matter who, please make more games with social mechanics, because I think the world definitely needs more of it. What do you guys think though? Let me know, because we talk about this stuff on our Discord, so if you're into that kind of stuff, come chat us up, link in the description. Okay, that's it for now, and until then, happy exploring.